Hello everyone, my name is Dorian and welcome to Okayama. We are with the BMW M4 GT3. It's quite surprising how good this car is here. I thought the mid-engine cars, the Lambo and the Audi, are going to be totally dominant, but the lap times are quite similar. So I thought, hey, what the hell? Let's do some BMW action. I haven't driven it in a while. I love this car. It's my favorite GT3. I don't know why I don't drive it more often, but you know, maybe next season, once I let go of F3s just a little bit, I'm gonna start doing more GT3 content and more M4 stuff. I've been rambling on, so I'm just gonna show you guys the lap real quick, and then we're gonna go over it corner by corner. If you enjoyed, leave a like. And if you want to see more track guides and race videos, then subscribe to the channel. Let's get on the track. Okay, so we're coming up to turn number 1. Let's look for a braking point. It's gonna be slightly past the 100. I would call it the 90. So we're gonna stay in 4th gear, right on the limiter, and start braking right around here. You can even try to brake a tiny bit later. I'm trying to manage the front tire temps, as the turn in here is quite difficult for the car. So that's why I brake a tiny bit earlier than what's possible. I'm gonna peak at around 80%. Now notice how much I got the car to the left here. It's vital that you maximize your approach here and just use all the track that's available to you. Learn the track limits and figure out how much to the left you can put the car. That's going to give you a lot of time on this corner. Around 80% peak, as I've said, releasing it as I put it in 3rd. So just now I'm going to downshift into 3rd and release more and more. Start to turn in quite late. I want to grab a late apex here so I can be aggressive on the power without scrubbing off the front tires. Trail braking, and as soon as I'm about to mount this curb, I'm going to fully release it and go back to the power. And you're going to see something that here that you're going to see again in a few more corners on this track, which is I'm stabbing it to around 50, 60, sometimes even 80%, but the last 10, 20, 30%, I'm going to squeeze very gently. That's going to make a big difference when you're trying to prevent the understeer. This car is front heavy, so you want to try to prevent that by being pretty aggressive on the initial input. That's going to give you a little bit of rotation in the rear, but just stay on it for a little bit, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then squeeze it back to 100%. That's really going to help prevent the understeer on the exit. You can see that here. Staying in 3rd gear, you don't want 2nd. Squeezing it all the way and just waiting on it all the way to 100%. That was a tad too aggressive on the initial input here. I'm a bit offline. I would like to stay a little more to the right here, but it's the same amount of time, but you're compromising the entry. You know, it's the same sort of lap time, but you're compromising the entry for the next corner a little bit, making your life a little bit more difficult. That's why I like to stay slightly more to the right here, but that was good enough. We're going to take the car pretty abruptly to the right here and try to line it up nicely for the next corner. We got this Marshall post here. That's our indication to when we want to lift and initiate the turn in with a little bit of trail braking, and we're going to keep that trail braking all the way into the curb, staying in 3rd gear, of course, and just dabbing the brakes ever so slightly, letting the car reach the curb. And as we do back, again, I'm stabbing it to around 80% and just staying on it for a little bit before I go back to 100 to prevent the understeer, almost inevitable understeer that you'll get here on the exit. You want a stable car here, that's why it understeers a little bit. The reason that you want a stable car, is what I'm trying to say, is because you got so many low speed corners that you just have to slam the throttle on the way out because you get a pretty long straight after that. This one's a good example. Now I'm gonna stay in fourth, and I'm gonna brake, I would say, to 75. Again, staying on the limit here, heavy car, lots of fuel, really helps with the braking. Under draft, I'm not sure what I'll do. It depends. I'll have to see how effective it is on these short straights. But you might want to shift up to fifth. It depends. Peaking again at 80%, releasing quite quickly. Downshifting into third. And we're going to release the brakes more as we put it in second. The turn in here is quite early. I want to try to avoid staying on the outside here. I want an early apex. Trail braking into the curb. And as I do, back on the power as I mount the curb. So you can see I'm waiting a little bit, still trail braking. I just want to make sure the car is nice and tight on the inside. I got all this grip here. So I'm going to be aggressive. Again, 80% and just squeezing the last 20%, nice and gentle. And as I climb up the hill here, I'm going to upshift into third. I don't need to stretch second too much here. And let the car run wide, not too wide though. For some reason, if you go all the way to the outside, you lose a little bit of time here. You want to stay somewhere around here. And we got this huge straight here. We're gonna brake pretty hard, right at the 100. Peaking, I would say, again, 80%. And I'm gonna stay on it for a long time because I'm gonna turn in quite late here. So as you can see, I'm still at around 70%, only releasing it nice and gradually, not really leaving the brakes at any point. And as I downshift into second, I'm gonna ask for a lot of turn in from the car. And as I do, again, trail braking. Staying on the inside the whole way through here. That's where all the rubber is. You don't want a wide approach on the entry. You just want to stay on the inside. And the same technique with the throttle. So we're going to peak at around, I don't know, 60%, 70%, and then squeeze the last 20, 30, 40% as we finish the corner, as we open up the wheel. As I want to stay on the right here. This time it's just so the back end won't kick out. I want to stay on the right. Go all the way to the right. Maximize your approach here. It really is vital. You got this dirt here. This patch of dirt is always here, so you can count on it. As soon as your front bumper reaches it, you're going to want to start braking. Peaking, very shallow peak, around 40%. Immediate release, staying in second gear. Trail braking into the curb. From this point on, I'm pretty neutral. As I mount this curb, I want to use the throttle to maintain stability. Peaking it around, just slamming it to around 70%. Squeezing it. I got to open up the wheel. The car has a tendency to kick out here. So I open up the wheel and then I turn it again. And you're probably going to want to do that every time. It will want to kick out here. If you're being aggressive enough, you're being quick enough, you'll always want to kick out on that exit. Just open up the wheel quickly and close it again. Now, look at how much road I'm using here. That's vital. You really want to maximize your approach here. Let the car go all the way to the curb on the right here. Almost to the grass, maybe even slightly to the grass. I'm going to start braking slightly before it. So right around here, let's go back to cockpit. So right around here. Staying in second gear, I want that engine resistance to give me a little bit of turn in. It's a very understeery corner. Peaking around 40%, but releasing it pretty immediately. Trail braking slightly. I would rather peak less and stay on the brakes for a little bit longer. That would have put me right on this curb. I was hugging it. I want to mount it. As you mount it, you can be a little more aggressive back on the power. So I was a little hesitant. I was staying around 60%. And then squeezing it back. I would rather go immediately to 80 and quickly back to 100. some in that region. You can use this curb on the way out, not a problem. You can even use the green stuff. It will upset the car slightly, but this BMW is so stable you can save it quite easily. Now, we're gonna brake right at the 50. And we're gonna peak pretty high, 70%, release it nice and slowly. So in second gear, we're still at 60%. Trail braking now, put it in first gear just to get a little bit more rotation out of it. Not trying to turn in too early because I want sort of like a late apex here. Back on the power with second gear. So as soon as I'm back on the power, I'm synchronizing it with the upshift. So I'm short shifting into second and back on the power. The RPM is nice and low, so the car won't kick out. 70%, waiting for the wheel to open up, and then back to 100. Try not to go too wide here, because I already have to start braking. See, as soon as the wheel is straight, you're going to see me start braking. 50, 45% peak. Downshifting into first, getting some rotation out of it. Now, I did something here that's kind of unusual for how I do this track, which is I started accelerating in first gear. I don't really recommend it. You'll see me trail braking into the curb and start accelerating. Usually, I'll short shift into second and then start accelerating. That will allow me to be a bit more aggressive on the power. So as you can see, I'm around 40-50% now. If I was in second gear, I would have gone immediately to around 70%. Wouldn't avoid it. Open up the wheel back to 100%. Letting the car run wide, using all of the road. You really want to stay tight here all the way until this curb ends. This gives you a lot of time on the exit, prevents all that understeer. So just take it nice and slow, nice and tight. Don't let the car run wide here. And we're gonna lift right at this Marshall post. Stay in third gear. Not a full lift, no braking, of course. I would say, yeah, to around 10-15%, then immediately going back slowly on the power. Then the car run wide. It really does open up here, so you can use a lot of throttle on the exit. Maximizing my approach for the final corner by staying on the left here. I'm going to start braking right as we kind of reach this runoff, this extra green, darker green runoff. Gonna peak it around 50%, let's say. Stay on it for a little bit. Third gear. Trail braking now, turning in. Not trying to turn in too early here. The later the apex, the better you're gonna be on the power. And again, peaking, slamming it to around 70-80%, and then squeezing it back to 100. I don't know why I keep saying peaking, it's incorrect. Letting the car run all the way to the outside. You can even use this dirt a little bit. It's not a big deal. It might cost you a little bit on the exit, but it won't ruin your race, at least with this car. So you can keep that in mind. And that will give us a 127.239. I hope you guys enjoyed this track guide. And if you did, leave a like. And if you want to see more track guides and race videos and stuff like that, then subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.